Good morning, all you rowdy souls. They're little, but they're mighty. I am so grateful to see you, those of you that are here. It's really lovely to see people in the room. And sometimes we have more, but it looks like everybody is still out getting over the election, maybe, or who knows. But anyway, here we are. We're here together. Those of you online, we're really grateful to see you as well. Thanks for being here this morning. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I'm the community spiritual leader here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And not only do I want to welcome you, I want to invite you to welcome each other. One of the things that we say here at Golden Gate is that we are a complete home of welcoming. And so we want to make sure that everybody, the regulars and the new people and the visitors, that everybody feels welcome. So I want to invite you to stand up, walk around, say hi to each other, welcome each other, and make sure you don't miss anybody. In just a moment, I will ring the bell, bring us back. And for those of you online this morning, if you're with loved ones, give them a hug. Pass that love around. If you're on your own, bring love to yourself right now. It's really important. Get yourself some more coffee or tea. Come back and join us and sing in just a moment, okay? We'll be right here. Hi, Lynn. Good morning. I'm well, thank you. You know, it's very important that we come together and open our hearts and make space for each other. And so when we're here in the room together, what we want to do is not only open our hearts to each other and make space for one another in this room for wherever we are, but also for all those that we're going to encounter throughout the day today or those who are online with us. We want to open our hearts. And sometimes we're challenged in doing that. So this is, when we come together in community, it makes it easier for us to do that because we're all making the effort, yes? Yes. So this morning, thank you for the response. I really appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like I'm asking rhetorical questions up here to a sleeping room. So this is good. Everybody's awake this morning. We've got Gary Lynn Floyd with us this morning as our musician. I want to say, bless his heart, Gary was not feeling well this week, and we weren't sure if it was going to work for him to do music. He kept saying, maybe tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow. And so he did, and he sounds, as William said to me this morning when we were talking about this, he said, well, he's about 90% there. You know, he's pretty good, but you can tell that he's still a little weak. So bless his heart, he's bringing us his music this morning, and he still sounds pretty good. So let's stand up and join Gary. Gary is the artist in residence at the Reno Center for Spiritual Living. He did music with our dear Karen Drucker for our anniversary. You probably remember the concert where he was so amazed at how much love came to him from all the Golden Gate people because he had never been here physically and met us and couldn't get over how many people loved his music. So bless his heart. Here's Gary. We Have Come Here is the name of the song.
Good morning, Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Gary Lynn Floyd here with you again. I'm honored to be here this morning. We've sung this song before. Let's start it out as a call and response. I'll sing a line, then you sing a line. It goes like this. We have come here to love one another. Sing it. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We have come here to let our love show. Beautiful. We are family. We're sisters and brothers. You sing. We are family. We're sisters and brothers. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. And we carry this love everywhere that we go. Together. carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. All together now. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. Beautiful. We are family. We're sisters and brothers, and we carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. One more time. We have come here to love one another. We have come here to let our love show. We are family, we're sisters and brothers, and we carry this love everywhere that we go. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. Sing that again. We carry this love. Carry this love. We carry this love. We carry this love everywhere that we go. Last line. We carry this love everywhere that we go. One more time. We carry this love everywhere that we go.
Yes, thank you, Gary. We appreciate that. All right. So with the reminder of the love that we carry and the love that we carry in this room collectively, now we're going to take that and turn within. So I'm going to invite you to shut your cell phone off, or at least turn it down so it just vibrates, turn the sound off. And let's turn within now into that love place within us. And Leslie Janetti, our morning practitioner, is going to do the opening prayer for us now.
Just turning within to the sacred center of the universe within. As the divine love is carried through each one, the rhythm of the universe itself is the magnificent all-in-all, omnipresent power. And this power is always seeking greater self-expression by means of each one. That each one is a unique, individualized expression of the infinite power, the infinite life, the infinite love. So I speak my word for each one, and I claim an opening in consciousness for a deep and resonant receptivity to the life within that calls each one forth. That there's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it with our thoughts, with our heart, with our mind. Aligning with it is the call of the great intimacy of the life of the God power within. And in today's service, Reverend Mary's words are spirit made manifest. They will reach out to each one where deep meets deep, and each one will recognize the truth of their being and the truth of all life. That abundance of love at the core of each one has never been and can never be affected by conditions. It is the truth of being, and I celebrate the life within each one that has called them to this very service today, which opens their heart and mind to hear the truth. And I give thanksgiving for what will be revealed and recognized as the truth of being, as life celebrating itself by means of each one. And I release my word to the law of mind, which embraces my word into itself, bringing it into form for the highest and greater good, and so it is.
I wish I had written this song. If you know anything about me, you'll understand after I heard the first line why I felt like I needed to learn this song. It's written by a guy named Philip Labes. It's called a TV show called Earth. What if aliens are real and they live 1 trillion years? And they've watched every single one of us since birth. What if aliens exist in an endless consciousness? And for fun they watch a TV show called Earth. There's a bunch of different storylines, the moral isn't clear, and it feels like the writing's gone downhill in the last year. And everyone's a hero painted in the proper light, and the show's in multicolor, though it acts so black and white. In its 100 millionth season, for what it's worth, a TV show called Earth. As we gaze out into space, they're a few feet from our face, eating popcorn, drinking soda with their friends. And to us it might seem cruel how they keep a betting pool on the way the human storyline will end. 'Cause everyone's a villain who just looks out for their own. And be careful picking favorites, 'cause they all end up as bones. The ensemble is pretty good, the leads all mostly suck. And recently they trashed the set to make a couple bucks. And a plot like that has not been seen before. They might only have a couple seasons more. Na 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 na. And when the show is done, by war or storm or sun, I wonder would they want to watch again, or grow bored with what we do and move on to something new, saying Earth was decent, 7 out of 10. I miss the dancing and the music and the sea foam on the shore. I wish the writers had been kind enough to sprinkle that in more. 'Cause the war bits and the poverty I wasn't a fan of, but I really dug on all the parts where humans fell in love. See, they've watched us from our primordial dawn till the very last one of us was gone. Then one turns to the other with a clicker in his hand and says, "That was fun, let's see what else is on." Na 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 na. Thank you.
Sweet and funny and thought-provoking all at the same time. This month of November, it was set a year ago that abundance would kind of be the theme of the month of November for all of the Centers for Spiritual Living. And one of the things that I say about abundance all the time is that because we're coded to create, we must always create. The creative law working through us is always going to create more. It never stops. It never looks at what we're focused on and says, "Oh, don't go there. You don't want to create that chapter. You don't want to create that episode." It doesn't do that. It always says yes to us. That is the great learning mechanism for us as human beings on this planet. That creation is always happening and we're always engaged in it. And what we focus on, we get more of. So abundance is really the only thing that we create. And it's just a question of an abundance of what? Now, you've heard me say that lots of times. And so as we focus on things, we get more of those. And sometimes we use that as an excuse to focus more on that. Oh, well, see how wonderful this is. See how terrible that is. See how amazing this human being is. See how dreadful that human being is. And what our attention gets pulled like this, depending on what the general focus of the population is and what we see on TV or in the movies or what we read about or what we hear about and talk about at work or with our friends and so on and so forth. And so we don't, as a human race, take a lot of responsibility for the abundance that we create. We'd much rather it was somebody else's responsibility or fault. I can remember Dr. Jim Munson said, because he was my first teacher, my first religious science minister, he said, as an alcoholic in recovery, when he needed to let go of being general master of the universe, he discovered that the world went right on. And then when he really started to grow and he experienced personal growth trainings and he learned that he was responsible for what he experienced in his own life, his response was very different. Then he said, oh my God, isn't there somebody more qualified than me to be in charge of my life, of what's happening here? If this is all my responsibility, oh dear, it's not good. So the abundance that we're creating usually comes out of our sense that we're right, that we know, that we're wiser than somebody else, or have better intentions, or we're just better people. And because we are, on that path of growth and enlightenment, we don't want to own that we think we're better than other people. And yet there is kind of a little something in the background that indicates that we might have that as part of our attitude at the same time. It is not always easy for us to recognize our own learning edges, although our friends and relatives generally know what ours are better than we do, just as we know what theirs are, right? You with me here so far on this? Is this making sense? Yeah. So during a visit to a mental asylum, a visitor asked the director, what was the criterion that defined whether or not a patient should be institutionalized? And the director said, well, we fill up a bathtub with water and then we offer the patient a teaspoon, a teacup, a bucket, and we invite him or her to empty the tub. Oh, I understand, said the visitor. A normal person would use a bucket because that's larger than the teaspoon or the teacup. Well, no, said the director. Actually, a normal person would pull the plug. Would you like a bed near the window? So we sometimes think we know the whole story until there's a slight shift of perspective and we get a chance to see, oh, I can't believe I missed that. Sometimes when I'm watching a particular television program, I'll be confused about something and say, what's that about? Why did that happen? And Amanda, or if I'm watching with my son, Luke, might say, well, this happened and this happened, so he assumes this or that, And I think, oh yeah, how did I miss that? I wasn't zeroed in on that somehow. I wasn't paying attention. Do you pay attention 100% of the time? I really don't. I know that, the message is to be here now, to be present. And that's good advice because the present moment is our point of power. We never can change anything anywhere but in the present moment. So rather than resisting the moment or grabbing onto it to try and make it stay just the way it is, we're in this flow where we're invited to be present with what is, not what we think should be or what used to be or what we wanted it to be, but what it is. And being present with what is acknowledges the abundance of the moment and also allows us to see possibilities and opportunities. And we can't see possibilities and opportunities from being lodged in the past or our desires. We have to address this moment. What am I going to do with my consciousness in this moment? So I think it's important for us to remember and be honest about abundance, to recognize that abundance is. We don't have an abundance problem. We have a consciousness problem. We have a distribution problem. we have an attitude problem. We don't have an abundance problem. That's not what we have. So in order for us to be honest about abundance, we have to recognize, how am I treating the abundance I already have? Am I noticing the abundance that I have? Am I experiencing appreciation and gratitude for the abundance that I have? Or do I overlook it because it's available to everybody? Or because it's always been there? Sometimes I talk about growing up in Seattle, where Mount Rainier was most of the time visible. And on a sunny day, Mount Rainier is astoundingly beautiful. But I grew up with it, and where I lived, we could see it almost all the time. And I never gave it a second thought. There's the mountain's out today, or not, you know. But it was just something I took for granted. When I was in Rome, I could not believe the works of art that were everywhere, just out, you know, for people to see. Architecture and statues, and everybody's just whizzing by like it's nothing. People on mopeds. Nobody's looking at any of that stuff. That's old stuff. It's always there. So we actually live in a universe that is amazing, on a planet that is outstanding and appears to be rare from what we can see. Now, granted, what we can see of the universe is pretty limited. On our little planet on the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. But what we have on this planet, in our own neighborhood, in our own world, is astounding. We live on a planet of astounding abundance and beauty. Incredible. We don't get it. We see it all the time. So it's like, meh, well, yeah, so. It isn't, yeah, so. It's astounding. It's astounding. And it's important, I think, for us to see, to just stop and see. And the truth about abundance is, it is everywhere. We live in this awesome, amazing abundance that becomes overlooked and assumed and undervalued and taken for granted because it's always here. We don't see. We don't even look a lot of times. Just think about the number of different things you can hear when you're walking outside. Not just traffic, but you can count that because automobiles are amazing. Trains are astounding. Buses. The smells, both positive and negative, things you love and things you don't love. The fact that we're able to smell. Are you amazed by this if you really think about it? Can't we be amazed by that? Can't we be astounded and grateful? You know, Wayne Dyer said, abundance is not something we acquire. It's something we tune into. And Marianne Williams said, the key to abundance is meeting limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. Meeting limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. Sarah Brethnock said, whatever we're waiting for, peace of mind, contentment, grace, the inner awareness of simple abundance, it will surely come to us, but only when we are ready to receive it with an open and grateful heart. Having an open heart, that's the key. Now, it's easy to have an open heart when we're around people that we feel comfortable with, or people who agree with us, or people that we like, or people who are just easy company, or people who make us laugh, or little children, because they're so easy with their affection and so insane with their imaginations. It's easy with our pets when they're affectionate and well-mannered. And the same is true with our children. When they're affectionate and well-mannered, then we can love them unconditionally. It's easy to be with them. Is this true? So having open hearts toward those is great, and it's wonderful, and it's delicious, and we should do it. And it's also natural and easy for us to do it. Jesus is quoted in one of the Gospels as saying, and I'm not sure I believe he really said this, but it doesn't matter. Something like, if you love only those who love you, what good is that? Even sinners do that. But love those who hate you. Do good to those who are cruel to you. Pray for those who are your enemies. If they strike you on one cheek, turn and offer them the other one. If somebody asks you to go a mile with him, go with him too. If he wants to borrow your shirt, give him your cloak also. I don't like any of those ideas. Yeah, I don't want to be inconvenienced. How about you? Stephen Colbert said something about, if we acknowledge that the Christian thing to do is to care for the poor, to look out for the imprisoned, to, he names all these things, and he says, if we don't do that, and we still want to call ourselves Christians, at least we have to admit that that's the Christian thing to do, and we just don't want to do it. It's not easy to open our hearts, no matter what our faith is, no matter what our belief system is, no matter if we're secular materialists and don't believe in anything outside of what we can grab onto. It doesn't matter which of those we are. It's still challenging to open our hearts. And we can always find reasons and excuses not to do it. And I know that I'm among us when I say this. And yet, what we create in terms of abundance hinges on that. It hinges on our willingness to make space for what we thought was the other. I've mentioned before in here a video I saw that had such an impact on me, where people talked about those they couldn't get along with. They were interviewed, like individually, about those that they didn't want to be around, didn't like. And people had feelings about those who were a different age, or those who were disabled, or those who were mentally disabled, or those who were transgender, or those who were a different race, or a different religion, or a different economics, or education, or party, or whatever. Yeah? And then they brought in a second person so that these two people could get to know each other. And they were very different from each other, but they had conversation, and their attempt to find common ground was really interesting. And so these people discovered that they liked each other, and then it was revealed that, I'm afraid of gay people, and I'm talking to somebody who's gay, or I don't like transgender people, and this person is actually transgender, or I don't like Muslims, but I discovered that this person is Muslim, or whatever. And when the relationship came before the exploration of differences, people found things in common. One of the reasons that Safe School Ambassadors, the program that has been used in schools around, Sonoma County in Northern California, one of the reasons it's been successful is because the program calls in the kids in these schools who have cred. They are leaders in their particular group, in their particular mindset. So they might be the athletes, or they might be the academics, or they might be the nerds and the geeks, or they might be the gang kids, or they might be, you get the idea. And they take the leader, the teachers can see who the people of influence are in those groups. So they called those kids together. And they start them having conversations together about what they want for their group, what they want for their friends, how they want the school to be or the world to be for their friends. And they tell their stories to each other. And they essentially fall in love with each other because they find out that this nerd is totally funny and sweet and delightful. And I, as a music kid in the band, or as a gang kid with a lot of stories in my background as well, that I like this kid. I don't like his friends, but I like this kid. And from that, the behavior of the culture starts to change as they stand up for one another. They begin to stand up for each other's groups and each other's friends with each other. And the culture of the school begins to change. Then the next influx of kids comes in, and they have to kind of get them worked into this culture and this mindset. But it happens. It happens. And so when we know that earth is filled with beauty and abundance and all of that is available to us, and we say, well, what is that which allows us to welcome those who are not like us at all? The mother cat with a squirrel with her babies, the mother dog with baby bunnies instead of puppies, the tiger with baby piglets, and the precious little dog in between the paws of a giant dog, that little puppy. This is not just innate in human beings. Although it isn't what we see every day, we do see a lot of animals making friends, cross breeds. There is something innate in life that wants to be a companion, that wants to be kind, that wants to be a friend. And we have seen animals as examples show us this, that a lonely creature that finds another creature who's alone, they will often bond with each other. Now, sometimes one eats the other one, I know that's true too. And we certainly do that also, not literally, hopefully. But, the idea of opening up our hearts to kindness, just to be kind. Suppose that you know that your neighbor doesn't like kids, and you have kids, or your neighbor hates your dog. You might be inclined to really dislike that neighbor, but you don't know what's behind that. You don't know what the neighbor's story is about why that's true. You're not there every minute to see the things that your kid is doing or that your pet might be doing that could trigger that. We don't know those things. And the neighbor doesn't know what efforts we've made to have our kid behave or our pets behave or whatever it might be. And maybe our expectations of each other are unreasonable, but what if we just had a kindness conversation with the other person who doesn't get us, and we clearly don't get them? What might happen if we could do that? If we could let that possibility of greater abundance into our lives, that kind of kindness brings a wealth into our experience that can only come from stretching our possibilities of making space for someone else, even making space for what we don't like about them. Yesterday, and I'm trying to think where I read this. Oh, I just don't remember. Somebody wise said to another person, when you really care about another person, then you even love in them what they hate most about themselves. What a deep kindness to bring love to the tenderest place in the person that you care about, rather than piling on, well, yeah, you're right, you suck at that. No. Instead, bringing kindness, bringing compassion, not saying things that aren't true, but just bringing loving kindness and compassion, bringing acceptance of the whole person. It increases the good we experience in our lives because we've made our hearts bigger. Are you with me here? We've made our hearts bigger. Jan Sincero says, basically, I chose not to identify with being broke any longer. I realized I deserved a beautiful life, and abundance was something I needed to welcome into my life. That's not just about welcoming more money. That's about welcoming more kindness, more gentleness, more generosity, more ease. And it means giving it to ourselves as well. She goes on to say, gratitude is one of the strongest and most transformative states of being. It shifts your perspective from lack to abundance and allows you to focus on the good in your life, which in turn pulls more goodness into your reality. I heard a song this morning. I don't know if any of you follow Dan Rather on Steady, the Substack thing. He every week puts out a bit of music, a music video, and says, a moment of uplift for your day. And so today there was a release of a Spotify playlist of all those songs that they had put up this last year. And one of them was a song by Tim McGraw, and I don't remember the rest of it, but the refrain had something to do with always be humble and kind. Always be humble and kind. Always be humble and kind. Boy, that really got me. Something about that. Always be humble and kind. And so kindness is actually our superpower. Kindness saves lives. It may seem like a small thing to say something kind to the checker at the grocery store, or the person that you're picking up your clothes from at the dry cleaners, or somebody who comes to work in the garden or help out somewhere, another person at the laundromat who needs a dryer more than you do at that moment. The kindness. If you're on the train, if you're on the bus, getting up and letting somebody sit down who looks like they need a seat, maybe more than you do, when the occupancy is tight. There are so many of us. And we are all gifted with the ability to be kind. Everybody. It doesn't matter if they're physically or mentally incapacitated. It doesn't matter whether they have pets or they hate pets and they're allergic to pets. It doesn't matter if they're educated or not. And none of it matters. What matters only is that every one of us has the ability to be kind. So, in that sense then, we're called to bring forward now more abundance in the world. Now, I know this past week, some of you were relieved and happy, and some of you were scared or angry or in grief. Regardless of that, our calling is to soften our hearts, to put down fear, to let it go. Fear has been cultivated so much recently in our country for sure, but all over the Western world. Fear has been cultivated, and all of us who are committed to trying to be informed have been immersed in this sea of fear. Really, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, we've been immersed in fear about the other side. Oh God, what are they going to do? What's going to happen to us? What's that going to look like? Do you know nothing has changed? Nothing has changed. Today is no different than one of these days would have been back in October or September. Nothing's changed at this point. It is what it is. We don't need to be in anticipation of awfulness. What we need to do is do what's ours. Do what's ours to do. What is before us right now? What is before us right now? What are we called to create more of? We are designed to be creators. Eileen Caddy said, expect your every need to be met. Expect the answer to every problem. Expect abundance on every level. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, expectancy speeds progress. In other words, when we look towards something that we do want to experience in our lives, we need to up our expectancy and open our hearts to welcome that, especially when it looks like it's not likely, especially when we can't see it. Ernest Holmes also said, riches are not good if one is afraid to use them, or if they pile up so they become cumbersome. The only thing that is any good in life is the thing that is being used. The divine intends for us to have abundance, but abundance must be accepted and used. We've been given an abundant blessing in our ability to use the creative law. And Ernest Holmes even said, this is exactly how you do it. This is how you use the creative law to create more of the experience you want in your life, and everybody is free to do it. Are we doing that? Or are we spending more of our time dwelling on what isn't working? Now we are called to actually use this abundant gift that we've been given mindfully, with open hearts, to create increased good for everybody. Whatever we think good is irrelevant, really, because the infinite has a better idea. So it isn't that we want to necessarily affirm this for everybody as much as we want to hold the highest and best for all people without exception, because as soon as we make an exception, we fall in that. We fall in the exception part of it because there's only one. So if we're going to leave somebody out, then we're over there. This is important. This is really important. Holmes also said, spirit is the source of supply, and substance is forever taking form. It doesn't stop because somebody had an election. It doesn't stop because somebody made some kind of a decree. And it doesn't stop. The universe continues to create abundance. What abundance are we going to throw our consciousness in with? Substance, forever taking form. Our supply is never limited to any particular channel. All the possibilities of the infinite being exist for us right now. There can never be any less. There will never be any more. So tuning into an infinite supply of abundance, I mean, there can't really be more than infinite. And if it's infinite, there can't really be less than infinite. So the question is then, what can we stretch ourselves to receive? Can we lovingly expand to receive more good in our experience? I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. It depends, though, on what we're looking for, on what we're expecting, on what we're expecting. This story comes from a book called How the Children Became Stars, as retold by Aaron Zara. It is told in India that Lord Krishna wished to see if the kings of his land were wise. So he called first a king named Duryodhana. And Duryodhana was known as a cruel man, and the people in his kingdom feared him. Lord Krishna told Duryodhana that he was to take a journey throughout the lands. I want you, Lord Krishna said, to look for one truly good person for me. So he's trying to give him a lens to look through, right? This is what you're looking for. So Duryodhana obeyed Lord Krishna and began his travels. He found many different kinds of people and spoke to them about many things. And after a long time away, Duryodhana returned to Lord Krishna and said, Lord, I've done what you commanded me, and looked the whole world over for one truly good soul. Such a person I could not find. Each one I met was selfish and evil-minded. A truly good person cannot be found anywhere. So the lens that Krishna had given him to look through, he took it with him, that was his assignment, but he never really looked through it. Then Lord Krishna sent Duryodhana on his way, and he called King Dharmaraja to see him. Dharmaraja was known as a kind man who tried to help people in his kingdom who loved him very much. And Lord Krishna said to Lord Dharmaraja, I want you to journey throughout all the lands and find me one truly evil person. Dharmaraja said, as you wish, my lord. And like Duryodhana, he set off on a long journey. And after much time had passed, Dhamaraja came to Lord Krishna and said, "My Lord, I have not brought back the one truly evil person you wish to see. I have found that people make mistakes, that they are fooled by others. I found that they act as if they are blind, but I could not find a truly evil person. The people are all good in their hearts." He also did not look through the lens that was given to him, but through his habitual lens. He carried his kindness front and forward. And so everybody he encountered, he found seeds of that in them. The other king was a hard, frightened man who was heavily defended. He had that in front of him when he went to speak to people. And that's what came through that filter. We're all of us using a filter all the time to see our world, to see what's out there. And our filter gets tweaked by everybody and everything we choose to spend our time and attention on. Gets tweaked a little bit more and a little bit more habitually. And so we can find ourselves believing something totally different from what we say that we value or what we think that we value, because we got turned around some which way and we lost our lens and picked up a different one and looked through it rather than being consistent with our own values, our own integrity. So this is not a time for us to disconnect. This is not a time for us to gloat. It's not a time for us to despair. It is a time for us to be humble and kind, to look within and see how we can expand our loving hearts to let in more love, more kindness, and to let out more love and more kindness. The abundance that we're called to create in the world now is more love. Yes, Jackie DeShannon was right. What the world needs now is love. This morning on the way in, we were listening to this playlist from Steady, and one of the songs was from the Judds. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Don't you think it's time? I think it's time. Namaste. Thanks. So let's go ahead now and anchor this in our hearts. As we turn within to our heart center, the home of love and kindness, we call forth that recognition, that energy of the spirit of Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, within us right now, recognizing that we are created from and made of that presence of compassion, that unguarded love, that open-hearted generosity. And so in this moment, for right now, this second, we choose to set aside our grudges, our fears, our hurts, our angers, our self-righteousness, our arrogance, and open into that not knowing, adventuresome, curious, loving, available place that is the unblemished child within every one of us, the whole, complete, and perfect Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the Krishna energy, the Kuan Yin presence. We let this shine onto all of our beliefs right now to allow those to blossom, which bring the greatest joy and happiness and the greatest good forward in our lives, not just for us, but for everybody our mind touches, for everybody our soul knows for everyone we have ever encountered anywhere at any time in any place without exception. And we know that that wholeness, that availability and complete acceptance are also available for us, everyone, regardless of anything we've said or done or thought or believed in the past, however limited, and however falling short we are of that ideal today of wholeness in our awareness, we nevertheless claim for ourselves an opening of heart and mind and consciousness that is a miracle. We call forth for ourselves a softening, a loving kindness that heals us in body, mind, and spirit, and forever shifts our lens so that, even as Anne Frank said, I still believe, after everything, that people are basically good at heart. We are good at heart. We let our hearts open now into the goodness that we are to lead the way. So we release this prayer to that creative law of mind and spirit which knows how, because we don't. We release that word into the law to be done. We let it go without getting in its way, releasing everything unlike it from consciousness, and we let it go with deep appreciation that this is possible, that we are available to know it and to let it come forward in our experience, to allow the profound change to be made in us in this very moment, to surrender into it with gratitude. We let this go now into the law and into the heart of the divine where it always has been the truth of every one of us. We let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join me now for the morning affirmation. As we say together, the nature of the universe is abundance. I draw abundance to me constantly. I choose for that abundance to bring health, joy, and well-being in every area of my life. My words and actions and thoughts reflect this abundance of good for all now. And so it is. Yes. You may be seated. And I want to invite our morning ushers to come forward right now. This is our sacred giving time. Now, by being here this morning, you have stepped into service. You are in service by your presence here this morning because you, the whole time you've been here, have been shedding energy into the room. You have been gifting it to everybody else in the room with you. And everybody else in the room with you has been doing this too. So we have also been absorbing and receiving what is being released into the room. Every one of us is part of the vibration of this space. We're not immune to it. It flows right through us. If you are online with us this morning, you're also part of that. It means that even though you're not in this room, you're part of the vibration of this space. You are connected to us, and your presence has been exuding itself into our experience here as ours has been for you. So the first blessing is for each other, because we are all the gift that has been given today and has been received in this space. Put your hands over your heart. We want to bless this gift, just as we bless all of the financial gifts being given this morning. Now, if you are online and you want to make a donation, you can text the dollar amount you want to give to this number on the screen and then just follow the directions. For those in the room, put your gift there next to your heart. And if you're giving it with a loved one, you can hold it in your hands together, but put one hand over your heart at the same time. And we want to bless all of this, including ourselves, with this blessing now. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. And I want to say, I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time, beginning with mine. Beginning with mine. And so it is. Okay, go ahead.
As time has unfolded me, it has revealed to me life's nothing less than sublime. And with every thought I make, every last breath I take, may I be gracious and kind. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Kindness wash over me. Make me a symphony. Play every note you can find. Make me reverberate. Gently deactivate. Slowly flow out of my mind. Find me a melody, dance and let my anthem be. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. Love, cover me. May my heart awaken. Tenderness be proved. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. This is your part. It's really simple. It goes like this. Love, 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 love. That's it. Would you sing it with me if you will? Love, 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 love. Beautiful. We'll come back to that. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Sing that one word with me again, please. Love, 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 love. Send it out all across the Bay Area this morning. Love, 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 love. All across the country that needs it so much right now. Love, 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 love. Wrap up the whole planet with it as much as you can. Love, 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 love. And as far out into the universe as you can imagine. Sing it. Love, 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 love. Beautiful. Thank you. Love, cover me. Sing that with me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. I love you.
So we all together now, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering and send it out into the world to cultivate love everywhere that it goes, without exception. And so it is. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. And Veterans Day honors those who actually have died in service to our country. It's called Remembrance Day in the UK and all the Commonwealth. So when I lived in Canada, this was Remembrance Day. And on Remembrance Day, well, actually from the middle of October through Remembrance Day, which is tomorrow, people wear poppies. And the poppies, they always have a little leaf, and the leaf is meant to be pointed at 11 o'clock, because on November 11th at 11 o'clock is when the armistice was signed at the end of World War I. And that is to remember all of the people who died in World War I. And then for us in the United States, Veterans Day became a day to honor all of those who died in any war, anywhere, who served for the United States. I want to today send out love to everybody who has served their country with the intention of doing good for their country somehow. And hopefully we will come to a place in this world where we recognize that disputes can be managed without killing each other. That level can be up-leveled. And in the meantime, to not ever demean those who gave all they had to give to serve their countries and ours in the United States as well. So tomorrow on Veterans Day, I invite you to just hold that tenderly in your hearts and all of their families who lost them in those years. If you're with us this morning for the first time, shifting gears here, at this table, back in the back of this side of the room, you'll find all kinds of handouts and things back there. And Galen has welcome packets for you. Please go back and get a welcome packet. If you fill out the blue card inside and give it to her, she's going to give you a little gift as our thank you for being here this morning. And also, that little book is an invitation. And so whenever you see that little book, let it remind you that you are always welcome here. And we invite you to be back with us often. Also, I want to thank everybody who did anything to create this wonderful morning for us. Please let's acknowledge everybody who was involved in creating this morning. And especially Gary, who did this for us on the cusp of his recovery as well. We're really, really grateful for him for that as well. Okay, So you know that we have a workshop coming up, How and Why to Cultivate Friendships After 50. One of the things that I notice is that it's always easier to make friends when you're in the workforce, or when you're taking classes, or when you're doing projects with other people. It's also an opportunity to participate as a volunteer in things with Golden Gate, because then you get to know other people on your team. But it's not always easy to make friendships. And so this workshop is designed to assist the after 50 crowd for finding more friends, for figuring out how to make more friendships. And Dr. Wendy Lyon is going to be offering that workshop on December 8th, that's a Sunday, from 1 to 3:30 at our office. There will be snacks, there will be a break, and it will be both informational and interactive. So look forward to that. And if you're over 50 and you're interested, sign up on the sheet back there so we know that you're coming, and register on our website. There's a link that you can find, and if you go to the calendar on December 8th, go to the calendar on our website, look for this on December 8th and click it, you'll be able to find the registration link for it. Also, I told you last week or the week before, we've been invited to join the group from the Atascadero Center for Spiritual Living, who are going to Bali in September of 2025, not 1925, no. From the 20th to the 30th of September. And if you're interested, you can go to the Spirit Tours website and look up their tours and look for the Bali tour that's going with Reverend Elizabeth to find out all the details, the itinerary, the dates, the cost, everything. And also, there is a link there and a passcode there for the Zoom informational meeting that Reverend Karen Fry did with a group from Atascadero to tell them more about the trip. So if you're interested and you want more information, you can look at that as well. The food bank is needing support more than ever. And in December, as we move into the holidays, that food insecurity becomes more intense and also more emotionally painful. So we want to support Food Bank, and we generally take one Tuesday a month and offer 2 hours of volunteer time from some of the Golden Gate folk to help pack food for the distribution centers. We've got one coming up on December 8th. That is the same day as the workshop. No, not December 8th, because it's a Tuesday. December 10th, from noon to 2 p.m. And please contact Ellen Nicosia if you'd like to be part of that team for December, and she'd be happy to get you all signed up for that. Also, you know the drill on the snacks. We've gotten a lot of signups back there for snacks. Yes, and I'm very grateful for that. And if you haven't signed up to bring snacks once a month, the sign-up sheet is available back on the activity table. We encourage you to do that. Also, let us envision the keyboard. Let us envision an energetic, fun, musically accomplished music director who is creating amazing things for us right there. See them, feel them, know they're there, and we're grateful for that person. Also, you can make prayer requests in 3 or 4 different ways. One is by putting your request in the prayer box. Another one is by requesting prayer from the website under the resources tab. And one is going and getting a prayer from the practitioner or practitioners on duty on Sunday morning, as Deborah is available over there for you this morning right after the service, and we'll pray with you. Also, we have another way, and that is if you would like a practitioner to telephone you and do one of these short prayers with you because you can't stay after on Sunday, maybe you have to go to work or whatever, then you can go over here, there's a sign-up sheet, and you can get a phone call from a practitioner with a prayer for you. You can also dial our inspiration line, our prayer line. The number is always on the flip side of your Sunday morning bulletin up in the upper left corner. That's always available 24/7. So you can get a prayer at any moment when you're feeling like you need it, even if it's 2:30 in the morning. Now I want to invite the practitioners to surround the room as we conclude this morning's service with prayer. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning with us, and let's turn within one more time and affirm the truth that we know, that the presence of God is the presence of love, infinite intelligence, and beauty. That means that infinite intelligence, love, and beauty are in this room, without exception, flowing to and through every one of us, and that we're all made from that. Beauty, love, intelligence. So we harness that within ourselves now with gratitude, and we let it work us and work in us and through us into the world to increase the beauty and love and intelligence everywhere by our beingness. Not only our thoughts and our actions and our words, but our very presence to exude that love, that beauty, that intelligence. We devote ourselves to that, and we invite the universe to work through us in that way and to help us remember that and know that this is the truth of us individually and collectively right now. And so it is. Please stand and join with us for the blessing and the closing song. As we say together, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is.
It's been a pleasure being with you again this morning. I hope you'll sing this with me as we leave and go back out into the world this morning. I love you all. Let's sing together. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. Sing that part again with me. In the name of love. In the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. Here we go, sing one more time. In the name of love. 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 Sing the last line with me again. In the name of love. Here we go. In the name of love. I love you all. See you next time.